This is going to be a very big week for the markets as the Fed gets ready to cut rates. What will we see for Bitcoin and altcoins this week as ETF inflows, Bitcoin ETF inflows remain steady? In addition, Ripple apparently is working with Bitstamp and Robinhood to build something on the XRP Ledger. I'll give you the details. Let's break it down. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we have a very big week coming up. The Fed is expected to start cutting rates September 18th. We will hear the announcement, and many are expecting 25 basis points, but it could be 50. I'm personally anticipating 25 basis points. And from a macro perspective, this is very good. This is the start of the easy money cycle, cheaper capital. People will be able to borrow at a cheaper rate, of course. We went from quantitative tightening to pause to now going back to quantitative easing, and they will have to start to print money to service the debt. So all of that means asset prices will rise. However, as I've been saying, this is a bloody September. It has not been good for markets, so we can expect a lot of volatility, guys. We could see things dump possibly this week. And here, Credible Crypto, who's a great analyst, I've had him on the podcast a few times, he highlighted on his chart here what he expects for Bitcoin as we head into later September before we hit October. And Bitcoin could potentially dump below 50,000, going to around 46, 47,000. Now, this is not a guarantee, but as educated, informed investors, we want to be prepared for all scenarios, mentally be prepared for both the bullish and the bearish, so that when these things happen, our emotions don't take hold of us. We're looking at the analysis, we're looking at the macro, we're looking at the fundamentals. So be prepared for additional volatility. I would love for Bitcoin this week to start running up to new all-time highs, but the higher probability is we see a lot of volatility, maybe a little bit more downside before we find that bottom and we head up to new all-time highs as we start Q4, which has historically been very good for the markets. Now, some other indicators that have shown that we have not hit the top yet is the Bitcoin Pi cycle top indicator. You can see here that orange line, which is the 100-day moving average, has not crossed the 350-day moving average. And in fact, he started deviating a bit as Bitcoin pulled back. So guys, we are still on track based on historical patterns. If you go look at the chart on TradingView, look at where we were at in 2016 of September 2016, where we were at in September 2020. Similar patterns playing out here. Bitcoin ran up very fast earlier this year, hitting a new all-time high before the halving. So it's now slowing down to normalize to the normal market pace, if you want to call it that. So we're still on track. I think earlier this year, we were all thinking this thing is moving faster than expected. We're going to see new all-time highs, the 100K sooner than later, right? But Bitcoin's like, nope, pump the brakes. We're going to get back to normal pace here. But a lot of it is because it's following the macro cycle as well. The other factor that's very bullish, the supply on exchanges remains low. It continues to dip. That's very good. That means there's less selling happening on the exchanges. What we've seen historically is when Bitcoin starts hitting new highs, the supply heads up to the exchange and people start taking profits. This actually took place back in March into May as Bitcoin was hitting that 73,000 price. The exchange volume started spiking. So this is why we want to look at different metrics to see what's happening in the market to tell us a story. And the other factor, as mentioned earlier, money supply is going up globally. Global liquidity is up. If you look at the Fed's website, the M2 money supply in the United States, it is up, folks. This data is public. You can go look at it. So I'm not lying here. I'm not making this up. This is data you can go research. Now, another major factor that's going to drive a lot of liquidity into the market is right now money market funds have about over $6 trillion in them. And I tweeted about this today. And in fact, Nate Geraci and I had spoken about it back in August when I interviewed him. Essentially, a lot of investors put their cash into money market funds because they were earning over 5% interest, right? So they were earning a high yield. It made sense. I did that. I spoke to my financial advisor, who handles my equities and stocks and so forth, to put a ton of cash into the money market funds because you're risk-free, you're earning that yield. Well, as rates start cutting, Where's that capital going to go, folks? They're going to start to go risk on. The investors, that is, are going to go back to equities and crypto and so forth. So that's a lot of money that's going to start coming back into the markets. Now, is all 6 trillion going to jump into the crypto and stock market overnight? Of course not. This thing will happen over time, but that's a whole lot of capital people are going to start pulling out to say, you know what, I'm going to go back into risk assets because it's going to help me to get a reasonable return as rates are dropping. And of course, the DXY, the dollar currency index, I expect that to start breaking downwards, and we need to go below 100 where it's going to be full risk on, folks. So a lot of macro factors here at play that will impact the stock market and the crypto market. So it's one thing to look at charts. That's okay. You know, we want to look at the charts. That's going to tell us, give us an idea where we may be headed, but we got to look at the macro and what's happening around us that will influence markets. Where is the liquidity coming from? If there's no liquidity, then the charts they're not going to work, right? There needs to be liquidity. So that's why we have to look at the money supply. We have to look at money market funds and what's going to happen here. So this is a very significant week, folks. And we got a report here that on Friday, US Bitcoin spot ETFs logged the highest daily inflows in nearly 2 months as Bitcoin challenges $60,000. So once again, this data came in on Friday, and it had the highest single day inflow since July 2022, despite the industry leader BlackRock's IBIT logging no significant inflows or outflows. What's fascinating is that BlackRock has been pretty neutral here. It hasn't been swaying one way or the other. They haven't been getting a ton of inflows, but they haven't been getting much outflows. That's good. Apparently, the BlackRock advisors may be telling folks, just hold, hodl, don't do anything, right? And that's smart. Now, the other ETFs in the market saw inflows. I saw the folks at Bitwise Asset Management. They were tweeting a bit about it. They often tweet about, the days when they have millions of dollars coming in. So this is a good sign that these ETFs, for the most part, are holding steady. Of course, you're going to have outflows. That's normal because there's a lot of advisors and RIAs now in the market, and they're going to have clients that say, hey, I want to jump out, and they're going to have to adjust it, right? This is normal in ETFs. Versus, let's say, most crypto people who are seasoned are not going to jump in and out because of the price fluctuations. Now, if they're new, right? They're newbies and rookies, of course, we've seen that. But this is where you have to learn the market cycles, not to invest with your emotions. But this is a good sign that inflows are on the rise again, and there haven't been significant outflows. Now, a great place where you can buy Bitcoin and altcoins is with Gemini. This is a crypto platform I've been using for years. Gemini has tons of features on their website, folks. Incredible products. They have a fully loaded exchange with an app and much more. They have crypto staking. They have a credit card. They have a stable coin called Gemini Dollar. They also have a derivatives platform where you can trade Bitcoin and altcoins. It's pretty great. And if you sign up with my link, folks, and you trade $100 in Bitcoin, you can get $15 in Bitcoin. So link will be in the description. Check out Gemini. They're fully insured, they are secure, and they are like SOC 2 compliant and so forth. They have top tier security and services. So check them out. Link will be in the description. Now, folks, we got interesting news coming out about Ripple's XRP Ledger. Apparently, Bitstamp is going to be launching a new derivatives exchange, and they're going to be leveraging the XRP Ledger. And remember, Bitstamp is now owned by Robinhood. Robinhood purchased them for like $200 million or something earlier this year. In fact, I interviewed Robinhood's head of crypto, and I'll be publishing that interview tomorrow morning. I interviewed him last week. So Robinhood is on a mission to grow their crypto footprint globally. And once again, they acquired Bitstamp. And I played a clip for you that's been circulating, and it's actually from Ripple's YouTube channel that they published, and it was just from a couple of days ago. Here you go.
We are launching our own derivatives exchange in the next few months, so that's something we are most excited about and really hope to cooperate closely with Ripple there as well. In final stage of integration of really some top 30 commercial banks globally on Bitstamp as a service, so this commercial banks will offer crypto through Bitstamp. So that's definitely something we are very proud of.
So notice she said that 30 commercial banks will be offering crypto through Bitstamp, and they're going to be leveraging Ripple's XRP Ledger. So very interesting. And if you want to catch my interview with Robinhood's head of crypto, that will be published in the morning. Be sure you're subscribed with the notification bell enabled. All right, some other news. Bitfarms accelerates 2.2 exahashes hosting agreement with Stronghold. So Watch the Bitcoin miners, folks, because we want to see the Bitcoin hash rate go up. We want to see the miners up and running. After they're having a lot of them sold, it's been a bit rough for them right now, but it's all cyclical. So eventually they're going to start ramping up again. So according to Bitfarms, the mining hardware was originally scheduled to be deployed in Hugaza, Paraguay, sometime in December 2024. So the agreement will add 10,000 Bitmain T21 miners to Bitfarms' Panther Creek facility in Pennsylvania and commence on October 1st, 2024. Ben Gagnon, CEO of Bitfarms, touched on the expansive potential of the company's sites in Pennsylvania and said the sites would be key to diversifying the company's business operations. So once again, keep an eye on the Bitcoin miners. There's a lot of expansion that's happening. USDC issuer Circle announces HQ move to New York ahead of IPO. So Circle is looking to IPO, and I saw some photos being posted by different folks who attended Circle's office launch here in New York City. So we could see some big IPOs come next year, folks, in the crypto industry. As once again, what did we start the podcast with? The change in the macro, easy money cycle, rate cuts. More liquidity, money printing happening, right? So this is where you're going to start to see companies do more IPOs because there's going to be more liquidity in the market. People are going to be able to access capital easier. See the cycles here playing out, folks. I said it before. We're headed into the next boom cycle. We came out of that bust cycle of 2022. It was a rough 2023, even though markets rallied. But it was still, rates were high, quantitative tightening, and so forth. Now we're across the other side of the bridge, right, folks? So we're headed to that easy money cycle. So exciting times ahead. That doesn't mean that market volatility won't be there. That doesn't mean corrections won't happen. That doesn't mean micro crashes in the market won't happen, just like we saw at the beginning of August with the Japanese yen trade. So please don't get me wrong, right? You got to be prepared for all these things. Now, speaking of stablecoins, Tether onboards head of government affairs from PayPal. Jesse Spiro said he intended to work with industry leaders and lawmakers to help grow the ecosystem in his role at Tether. So this is a big pickup by Tether, and you're going to see everybody try to poach each other's talent, right? Circle is going to try to go after PayPal and Tether and vice versa. So this is all signs of a booming asset class and industry, right? Everybody wants to get the top talent to keep growing because they're trying to grab market share and grow their business, of course. So in a September 13th notice, Tether said Spiro would be responsible for leading policy and engagement efforts with lawmakers, regulators, and key stakeholders in his role at the company. He was the lead of regulatory relations for PayPal's blockchain and crypto business from 2021 to 2024 and worked at Chainalysis for more than 2 years in roles concerning policy and government affairs. So big pickup here by Tether. So that's the news, folks. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter, 100% free on Substack, all crypto insights and knowledge, no BS. Sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. Also, grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto, on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, also available on barnesandnobles.com. Buy a copy to support the podcast. Buy a few copies for your friends and family, give them as gifts, help them to learn about crypto. This is a great book that gives you the past, present, and future, includes investing tips and much more. If you bought a copy already, please leave a rating and review on Amazon. It will really help me out. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.